Hello out there. Happy Monday. We're on the air. Little Dwight Yoakam there start the day. Little guitars and Cadillacs. All right. Where do we begin today? Oh, I guess this is the daily Bitcoin journey. This show focuses on actionable and logical discussion for Bitcoiners and for the future Bitcoiners out there. There's Arnie right there. Right on time, buddy. Right on time. Okay, well, shit. Just trying to fix a couple things on the fly here, but not going well. What was I thinking there? What was I just about to do? I don't know. Anyways, okay, let's get her going here, folks, because we got a lot of stuff to get through today. Start with the chat. How's the chat doing today? By the way, before we get to the chat, happy Mother's Day, everybody. Or not everybody. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers out there. Cheers to you. You literally make the world go round. And we would not be here without you. Get it? I saw a funny meme yesterday. Oh, I forget what it was now. It was something about men who dress like women, though. There's a couple good ones I saw about girls who think that because they have a dog, they're a mom, and one about men who dress as women. I think it said something like your day is April Fool's or April 1st. I don't know. Something funny. But anyways, happy Mother's Day. Happy belated Mother's Day out there to all the mothers who watch the show. There's only about 4 or 5% of the audience that's female. Probably small percent of those would be mothers, but no shortcutting the Mother's Day around here. I got to see my mom yesterday and drove into the city to see her. Things are going well. She's doing a lot better. Hoping to move her today to a different spot here, closer to home, less care. And so hopefully it keeps going well and she can get out to the lake here and start enjoying a little bit of summer. So thank you to everybody who had been sending some good vibes, some prayers up there. It worked. So cheers. It's been a long 2 months and 2.5 months for us and especially for her. Okay, what's up, Zapstream? What is up in the Zaps today, the Zap world? Oh, today's for the dogs. Rescue Day, Rescue Dog Day. For the Arnies of the world. Oh, and he leaves. What a bugger. So all the Zaps today will be going to our Rescue Dog Fund, which now has, drum roll, May 5th. Yeah, that's accurate, up to date. 694,689 sats for the dogs. So big shout out to everybody out there who has been supporting the Rescue Dog. I see Letha over in the Zapstream. I see Josh over in the Zapstream this morning. Good morning. What was I doing here? Oh, I was going to tell Noster that we're live. Yo, Noster. Oh, there's a fat zap to start the day. Oh, okay. I got to shout outs here, actually. We got a fat zap over in the Zapstream from Into the Orange. 10,000 sats. Wow. That's very nice of you. It says, congrats on the 10K from Into the Orange. So yeah, we hit 10,000 subscribers on the weekend. Actually happened on Jerry's live stream. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool night. Seems like a year ago, but yeah, it was Friday night. And did a little bit of celebrating. I think it was well deserved. Definitely hasn't been an easy road to 10K, that's for sure. I don't know what I'm not claiming to be shadow banned, but I say a lot of things that the Overton window may not agree with. But anyways, thank you. Thank you very much for that. 10,000 sats. Wow. And a couple other ones in here too. Is that LaughPad? Josh. Wow. Josh sent 8,888 sats as well in the Zapstream. And I want to give a couple shout outs because Friday show, I missed Into the Orange, also zapped 8,888 sats, and LaughPad as well. I think those were two zaps on Friday that I did not give proper kudos for. So thank you, Into the Orange for Fridays and for today's. Very kind, very generous of you. All right, let's go. What's happening here? Killer with the first chat of the day. Cleaner Machine number 2. J-Dog 3. Ginger. Must be busy today. Good morning, Ginger. Paulo. Kevin from Lakeland. Cheers, Kevin. A couple of Floridians in the chat this morning. We got Josh in both chats. Morning, Josh. And thank you for a couple zaps to start the day today. A couple fatties. Frank, good morning from Sunshine, Florida. Hi, Jordan family. Keep stacking sats. Bitcoin is still very, very affordable. I would echo that. Rick, everybody smash the like. Good question, Rick. Let's get those likes humming. Bird Meta, good morning. Steven says, great work, Jor. Well, thank you. Thank you. We're showing up here. Some days it's great work. Some days it's mediocre work, but we're working nonetheless. We're growing this thing. Not the channel, the network, the Bitcoin network. We're growing every single day. Barry Bundles. Wow, look at that name. Love that. Josh says, oh shit, I forgot about the 10K subs. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool night, I think. That was kind of my goal. That was my end goal for the channel, was to get to 10K. So I guess we can shut her down now. Crypto Princess. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Jor. Bitcoin Buddha in the chat. Good morning, Super Stackers. What is a woman? Yeah. Well, it seems a little bit more clear these days. Good morning, Jersey here. I buy $20 a day in sats. Is that good? That is really good. Hustle hard. I mean, if you got $30 a day, I would be putting $30 in a day. There's no real number. It's whatever you have after your expenses in dollars, you put into Bitcoin. There's no threshold or amount or anything like that. It's just whatever you got. Save it in something that's going to keep its purchasing power. Not only keep it, but accelerate it. Ryan, this is my second cycle. Like many others, I focused looking for quick gains with altcoins. Now all I buy is Bitcoin. Takes time to get there, but everyone will get there eventually. Those are some wise words, my friend. Those are some wise and helpful words. Congrats, Ryan. Congrats for getting through 2 cycles. Not everybody does. And congrats on shaking the altcoin bullshit. Everybody does. Just some do it later and get less sats for it. So good to see. Jake, cheers. Cheers to you, my friend. Eddie says, hey, George, good morning. Catching you while I start my cardio. Good morning, Eddie. Happy Monday, my friend. Elliot. Oh, look at this. We got another Lakeland, Florida here. That's kind of wild. All the people in the world. And there's 2 people in the chat this morning from Lakeland, Florida. I like that. Elliot says, what will be the next catalyst for price appreciation? I think the first thing you got to look at is getting away from the price appreciation. We got to keep in mind here that the price, although it's fun to watch, is completely illusionary. Completely. So once you get past that, it's like, okay, well, how many sats can I get? How many sats can I get, and what can I buy for those sats in a decade from now? But the next catalyst, I think, I'm going to go through a laundry list of reasons why. I titled this one "The Bitcoin Floodgates Have Opened," and they have. I don't think it's going to be like one triggering event. I just think we're going to see Bitcoin slowly run out for real. Like it's going to start. People are going to panic. Like hardly anybody's here yet. I'm going to show you something in a couple seconds here about kind of where we are. But I've been talking about this a lot, and I think it's very accurate. But I think the next kind of what gets us to mainstream adoption, I think, is going to be businesses not accepting, demanding Bitcoin. So we're going to, over the next couple of years, we're going to see a bunch of new businesses start accepting Bitcoin. It's already begun. And watching the strategy world last week, from August 2020, the first Bitcoin treasury company was born, Strategy. Since then, there's been 70 public companies who have added some Bitcoin to their balance sheet. 70. And that's not an easy task for a public company to start buying Bitcoin. Not easy. But 70 companies, public companies, have managed to do that in the last 5 years, whatever it was. And we're seeing businesses all over the world. If you look at the BTC map now, it's just flooded with businesses accepting Bitcoin. And right now they're doing it. I think a lot of businesses who are doing it for, they've kind of like dipped their toes in a little bit. They see it as kind of a marketing opportunity. And, but that's going to change. That's going to change from businesses accepting Bitcoin to businesses demanding Bitcoin. And that to me is really when it's going to take off into the mainstream. What the price will be at that point, I have no idea, but it's going to be significantly higher than it is today. It's going to cost you a lot more dollars to get sats at that point, because businesses are going to realize that it doesn't really make sense to hold fiat. So they'll start accepting Bitcoin, and they'll start adding some Bitcoin into their own reserves. And then they're going to see that the dollar is just in a death spiral, and there's no sense of even accepting it anymore. And by that time, there might be other versions of the dollar that are new, like the US Treasury dollar, I think will be in place by then. But at the same time, they're going to shift to accepting currencies that are backed by something, whether that's Bitcoin, the US Treasury dollar. They're going to stop accepting Federal Reserve notes, the ferns, because they're worth nothing. They're completely illusionary money. So that'll be, I think that'll be kind of the next big thing, but there's going to be a lot of things between then and now, for sure. Got a runny nose today. Parks. Morning, people. Good morning, Parks. Ryan says, although I do hold a lot of Theta. Yeah, I've been there before. I was a big Theta guy myself. You can go back to the, do I seem blurry or something today? I don't know. You can go back to my channel. I haven't deleted any videos from my channel because it's just kind of like my own journey through crypto, through Bitcoin, through the whole thing. So I was talking about Theta quite early on in my channel here before we did the daily Bitcoin journey. And I've traded a lot of my Theta for Bitcoin. Not that I don't think Theta is going to be worth something one day. I just don't think it's going to outperform Bitcoin. So why would I hold that? It's the same as anything. You could look at it like Dogecoin. You could look at it like Litecoin. They might have use cases in the future, but none of them are going to outperform Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the place to store your time and energy. And then if you need Theta, if you need Litecoin, if you need Doge in the future, or Ethereum, I don't know why you would, but if you do, you could always swap it for Bitcoin at that time and get way more of it at that time. So they're not stores of value. I think that's an important thing for people to differentiate. You might get lucky. You might hit one of the stupid run-ups that the meme coins do. I don't think so, though. Like, if you look at all the charts compared to Bitcoin over the last couple of years, they're all just like nosediving completely. Like last cycle, when Bitcoin would have been at about $50,000, I think Theta was about $15 per coin. And now we're double in Bitcoin, and we're 1/15 there in Theta. And that's nothing's going to change that. So that's what I'd say on that. I'm not, You know, if you've been watching the show for a while, you know that I'm not like a 100% Bitcoin maximalist. I'm not. I think that there's going to be plenty of use cases for other things in the future. I'm a Bitcoin as a store of value and as a freedom money maximalist, but I do think that there's going to be other things that exist because people should be able to transact with whatever they want to. If a business wants to accept Theta, if that's what they think is more valuable than Bitcoin, then they should be able to do that. It's just, I don't know, it's realistic. Laugh Pad, good morning. Just woke up. Nice little sleeping, I guess, depending on where you are. West Coast, you'd be pretty early. Going to zero. Open your eyes. The US dollar, I mean, there's a laughing emoji there, but there's no way that doesn't happen. And I think that that's what so many people have a hard time coming to terms with, is that the US dollar as we know it today is going to zero, because it is zero. The only difference is that people haven't figured that out yet. For real. It's going to zero. There might be different versions of it. There might be a USDT tether. There might be a US Treasury dollar backed by Bitcoin. There might be a Chinese yuan backed by gold. But the fiat dollars themselves, the dollars that are created out of thin air by the Federal Reserve and the central banks around the world, are going to zero because they're worth nothing. And there are better versions of it now that people are going to want. So it's going to zero. It pretty much already has. If you look at the purchasing power from 1913, when the Fed was created, the purchasing power of that dollar has gone down 99%. How could you get any closer to zero than that? Eddie Jordan says these Lakelanders should organize a meetup, grab some coffee together and plan your citadel. Yeah, why not? I agree with that. Josh says the catalyst will be when retail can't buy on exchanges and needing to buy from hodlers only. True. And that'll come. That'll come when people just stop accepting Bitcoin for, or stop trading fiat for Bitcoin. It'll come for sure. Again, because that dollar, as we know it today, is going to zero. Whether you believe that or not, it's not really my opinion. It has nowhere else to go. Paul says, Vegas will be the tipping point, making me go all in on Bitcoin instead of 50-50 in TradFi. The curtain is slowly being pulled back. Paul, love that. Love that. Why Vegas though? Just meeting Bitcoiners or what? What's going to happen in Vegas? Look at this. We got a couple zaps to Arnie's wall today. 888 sats anonymously and 303 zats. 303 is from J-Dog, it looks like. My favorite synth to bass is it bass music? Bass music? My favorite synth to make bass music on. 303. Interesting. Thank you. I like that. Matt, good morning. Elliot says, do you think Ethereum is doomed to fail? Yes, of course. I've been saying that for years on this channel, and I've been proven correct. It's not at zero yet, but it's pretty much. Like, is anybody using it? Is anybody building on it? Is anybody actually buying Ethereum anymore? If so, why? I would like to talk to somebody who's purchased Ethereum in the last year and just ask why. And if they say because it's cheaper than Bitcoin or because it's the second biggest cryptocurrency, then I'm sure that's why a lot of them would say that. And the majority of people, they're just holding on to Ethereum because they're trying to cash it into Bitcoin at some point. And they're just going to end up with less and less sats over time. So yes, the reason why Ethereum is going to fail is because even if it is being used by people, right? Like even let's say that somehow the Ethereum network, Vitalik leaves, somebody comes in and kind of takes over things. They lock it in place. I don't know how they do that, even because it's too centralized. That's the problem with it, is that even if they have a roadmap and they have a supply that's circulating right now and a supply creation schedule in the future, that could change because it's fully centralized. There's a group of people who make the decisions there. So if they decide they want more Ethereum or they want less Ethereum or they want to change something in the code, they can do that because it's centralized. And so therefore, over time, people just lose trust in that. They don't see it as a store of value today. They see it as a use case, but that's not a reason to hold Ethereum. That's not why you hold assets, unless you're actually building on Ethereum. And the unfortunate thing for that is there's going to be a new Ethereum, which there already is, Solana. And then there's going to be a new Solana in the future. And then there's going to be a new version of that. And they're all going to be centralized. And they're all going to continue to go down in terms of Bitcoin. So will it go to zero in dollars? I don't know, but it's going to go to zero against Bitcoin. Zephyrus, look at that. Hey, man. Good morning. Bird Meta says, I've got a little degen left in me. Meme coins are like taking a trip to the casino. Yeah, and I mean that's why I have no issues with it, honestly. That's why I don't consider myself to be a Bitcoin maximalist, because I think that if that's what you're into, if you like gambling, as long as you see it as that, right? Like as long as you are fully aware that you could lose that in a second, then that's fine. Just don't exceed like 2% of your portfolio with it, right? Like if you want to keep 98% Bitcoin and screw around with 2% of it, whatever, have some fun. Life's supposed to be fun. So whether you're using it as like a gambling or like a couple guys in a community buying it, I have no issues with that. BTC Backpacker, good morning from the great state of Idaho. Mowing lawns for sats. Love that. Zephyr says, ledgers are perfect for tracking projects and verifying sources, improvements over time, and an easy way for AI to improve processes and therefore cause deflation for open source project costs too. I'm not really sure what that means. Ledgers are perfect for tracking projects. Did I miss a comment there? I don't know. Anyways, we got some zaps over in the Zapstream. Daniel with a fat zap of 888 sats for the dogs today. Thank you, Daniel. And Josh says, I heard that Ethereum did their big Petra upgrade. Why it spiked 20% the other day. I said, meh. Whatever, eh? Oh, man. I love Josh's lingo. I can't say I've ever like typed out the word A. Like I say it, obviously, just like, I don't know, it's part of my lingo, but I don't think I've ever typed it. So it's kind of awkward to say typed. It doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well. Eddie says the freedom to transact in Theta, yes. You also have the freedom to communicate via fax or ride your bike to work, but you will not survive that way. This only ends one way. Agreed. That's a great way to say it. Great way to put it. Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. Theta is also not a store of value. Utility, maybe. I haven't seen it. It had some pretty big hopes and aspirations at one point, but it really just hasn't played out. And so it's not a store of value. Theta is the same. Theta has a board of directors. They have a CEO. They're centralized. They, decentralized in name only, which means that if they wanted to make a change to Theta, they could. They could. So you never want to be in a project like that or anything where somebody else has the ability to devalue you or change the direction of that. That's not a solid store of value. And that's why I don't think the gold is either. I don't think that gold was the best store of value before Bitcoin. But gold, I wouldn't say that there's somebody who has the ability to change the supply of gold, but there kind of is like a group of people, right? Like it's not like the gold owners of America, the Gold Association of America that gets together and say they want to increase the supply of gold. But if there was a lot of demand for gold, we would just find more gold. I think it was in Argentina last week. They found like 88 million ounces of gold. So it's unpredictable. The nice thing about Bitcoin is we know how much there is today. We know how much there's going to be tomorrow. We know how much there's going to be in a month from now. And we know how much there's going to be in 100 years from now. And that's what you want to store your time and energy in, because you can reliably predict, how much supply is going to be out there in 100 years from now and 1,000 years from now. The only difference is there'll be a lot less because people will lose their Bitcoin. People have lost their Bitcoin, and that's not going to change. ISO says, on the day that SAT dollar parity happens, do you think that it's still worth stacking SATs or pool mining is better? Well, you have to understand that when we reach SAT dollar parity, there's going to be a lot more competition in mining. So if you're pool mining today with like a BitAxe, pool mining on a BitAxe. If you're pool mining on one BitAxe today, you might be getting 10 sats per day. In a world where there's a sat dollar parity, you're probably going to be getting 10 sats per year. So you have to look at everything as a whole, right? That's why that's my whole argument with UTXOs too. Is like people think, well, you can't have small UTXOs because the fees are just going to outweigh the cost to transact there. Like if you got a 10,000 sat UTXO, but you're paying 4,000 sats to send it, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But what people are missing is that when people actually go to spend a 10,000 sat UTXO on something, the purchasing power of those sats are going to be significantly higher. And therefore the sats per VByte are going to be much, much lower. So let's say that it costs 4,000 sats to send that today. That's probably going to cost 5 millisats in the future. So the spread's always going to be there, right? It's a free market. So nobody's going to spend a transaction of it's worth half of the UTXO. You have to look at it from the whole view, not just like one aspect of it. That includes something like this. Right, like the sats you mine from a pool at that point will be a millionth of what you get today. Literally, no, because what do we need to do to get to 1 sat per dollar parity? 100 million. So that would be 100x from here. No, more than that. So it'd be one. Yeah, you just have to apply it to the whole picture. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at. It's not just one aspect and everything else will be the same. Everything will be proportionalized. Rock, good morning. Best of luck in what's to come. I like that. Buck 52's in the chat. Good morning, Buck 52. Don Troll says, I have a few Ethereum since a few years, just waiting a few months to sell it for Bitcoin at a fair price and never buy ETH again. I mean, there's been a lot of people doing that for the last couple of years. They've been waiting for the Ethereum price to get back to where they bought it at. But by that time, they're going to get a fraction of the Bitcoin that they would have got otherwise. Because if Ethereum goes to $5,000, that means that Bitcoin's probably worth $1 million. And so when you trade that for Bitcoin, you're going to get way less sats. So I don't agree with that theory. I don't agree with that plan. Because if you're swapping it for Bitcoin anyways, you're just going to end up with less Bitcoin whenever you do swap it. So that's what I said. Swap it today. I said that 2 years ago. And if you would have listened to that advice, I'm not saying Don Troll was here at that time, but you would have probably 5x the amount of Bitcoin that you would have today for it. So MHMA, pool mining on a BitAxe is an act of futility. What does that mean? What's futility? What is futility? Pointless or useless? I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it's useless. I would say it's actually a really good exercise to go through because number one, you're playing the lottery every 10 minutes. Yes, you can go into, pool mining. Sorry. Ah, even if you're pool mining, I think that you're still learning something. And I think that you should never discount learning, honestly, because there is going to be a day where Bitcoin mining is much more ingrained in our society. And I think that if you can start learning some of these concepts now, and even if it is just with a bit axe, like that's kind of my plan. I have two bit axes running here. They're both solo mining, but my next step is going to be like a bigger version of that, like Apollo, I think they are, something along those lines. Where I actually have a legitimate chance, you would say, compared to a bit axe at winning a block. So I'm going to invest a little bit more. I'm going to take more time to understand it. But bit axe is kind of like the first step into that world. So I don't think it's useless. I just don't think that it's, you can't look at it from a profit perspective because you're losing money. So in that sense, profit specifically, I agree. But there's more to it than that. You're decentralizing the network, which, big or small, doesn't matter. It's still in the right direction. And you're learning. So I think I think it's worth it. Considering home mining, and that sounds scary. Nah, it's not scary at all. Pretty easy. Oh, look at this. Kieran says, good morning from the latest Zapstream app build. What's that on, Kieran? Daniel says, I feel like I have to mute somebody every day now in this chat. Yeah, I don't know. They keep spinning up different NPubs. I'm just muting them by not acknowledging them. So it's just nonsense words anyways. Like, I don't even know if that's a person. What are you doing? You're not even speaking English. Josh says from Thunder Bay, eh? So I type like I talk. It's a northwestern Ontario thing. I like it. Kieran says, although some solo bit axe have mine blocks. That's right. Could you imagine spending $200 on a bit axe, learning, decentralizing the network, and also hitting a block? Kind of crazy to me. It just seems like, don't sell Bitcoin to do it, but if you got some spare cash, I mean, why the hell not? That's my question, is why the hell not? I haven't checked my bit axe for a while. Now I'm still blanked. But yeah, Kieran's absolutely right. There's been, I think, 3 or 4 bit axes who have hit a block. So it's not impossible. I think it's going to become more and more impossible as time goes on. Like a bit axe will literally be impossible at some point. But for today, where we are in the whole grand scheme of things here, there's a chance, and that's all you can ask for. You're right. Damn. Yeah. I mean, I get comments every week saying, thank you for this video. I sold my Ethereum and I've, never looked back, because the Bitcoin to Ethereum chart is just like this. Every day you hold on to Ethereum instead of Bitcoin, you're just going to get less sats when you actually do that. So I would just say, cut the cord, do it today. You're going to feel way better about it. And you never know. You don't want to be sitting holding Ethereum when Bitcoin shoots up, because if Bitcoin shoots up, Ethereum might spike up as well, but it's not going to be to the same effect. So I would just swap it. You don't have to worry about it. You're going to feel better. And that's my best advice always, is if you have any Ethereum, that's the easiest thing to do. Tom says, isn't it less about the profit and more about the ability to have a voice in the community? Somewhat. You don't really have a voice with, I guess you do. If you had a million people with a bit axe pointing their hash in the same direction, and yeah, it's true. Oh, look at this. We got Kieran here with, I'm just going to trust the fact that this is the real Kieran. What do we have here? Oh, look at this, folks. There's no way to verify that this is indeed the real Kieran, but it looks like it led us to the right link here. Zapstream. Let's get her right now on the phone. Let's do a little experiment here live on the fly. Play. Where's my Google store? Is that available on iOS, Kieran? I'm assuming you're still here. Play Store. Zap.stream. Oh man, that makes me so happy that Kieran's still building on the Zapstream. Install. There we go. Hey, let's check her out. We're doing a live demo on the Zapstream right now. It says you've got early access to this app. Provide your feedback so the developer can improve this app. I'm giving live feedback. All right. Let me get this. So there you go. I'll put that in the YouTube chat as well if you want to jump over from YouTube to the Zapstream. Give that link a spin. Okay, so I got to log in. Log in with Amber. Allow. Okay, let's see what happens here. Look at that. Oh, shit. Okay, so we can see here. Sorry, I know this is kind of painful to watch, but whatever. It is what it is. So I'm logged in with my NSEC bunker. Although I don't see any streams on here, Kieran. I don't know if that's a me issue, but I can see. There we go. Wow. There it is. Although Kieran, while you're here, I don't know if you are still here. Oh yeah, you are. There will be new build out later today to fix. Okay. That's awesome. That is awesome. I've been waiting a long time. Not a long time. I shouldn't say that, but I've been waiting for a mobile version, an app for Zapstream. That's badass. So can I install it on here too? Looks like it. Hell yeah. That is awesome. What was I saying? What was I talking about there though? Oh yes, Kieran. My the title of my show has been called "No One Is Coming to Save You" for probably 2 months. So, not that I care. I don't think people on Zapstream show up for the titles like they do on YouTube, but I don't know how to change that. So, I change it in like the dashboard through my. I create a new stream every day and try to put the title in there, but it always just defaults back to "No One Is Coming to Save You." So I don't know how to fix that. Can you give me any tips on the fly here? Small hands move the world. That's absolutely correct. ISO says currently studying if I can do it on solar for more sustainability. I mean, that's the dream. If you can do it on solar power that costs you 0 electricity every month, that's a no-brainer to me. M. Vincent says, will we still have Bitcoin winters every cycle, or are those days over? That's a good question. You know, it's really hard to know for sure what's going to happen with that. But, you know, if there's a bunch of institutions and countries and like everybody's involved, I would have a very hard time seeing like it go down much. How could it? I just don't understand. Like once we reach a point, which I think we've already reached, where like this thing is going to be around, this thing's not going anywhere. How would it go down? Like what would change? What would cause like a crash? Paper Bitcoin, maybe, if somebody were able to, you know, hack the network or something happened to change the code somehow, that might have an impact. But like, I don't think it would just be like a normal cycle where it goes down. I could be wrong, but I just don't, in my mind, that doesn't make any sense. MHMA. For the price of a miner and electricity, you might as well put the fiat to buying Bitcoin. I agree. No, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like profit wise, it doesn't make sense. It's much better to just buy Bitcoin, but learning, decentralizing, I think that's okay. Well, live. Must have missed a comment there. D'Allen says it's really him. I figured it was. I trusted him. Yeah, there's no real way to verify on. I guess I could click his profile. Anyways, doesn't matter. Also available in the Zap Store. Nice. I love the Zap Store. If anybody is on Android, they should be using the Zap Store for things to download. Josh says, wait, I already have Zapstream installed on my phone. What's the difference in this versus my already downloaded version? Huh. Ken says, great work. Letha says, nice. And Ken says, some moderation options would be a good update. Moderation updates. Yeah, I mean, I think that, I don't know. I don't really want to tell Kieran, how to do things, obviously. But yeah, I think the one thing that I've noticed with Zapstream that could use an update is every time I go to Zapstream website, you can't really see anything on there. Like there's none of the feeds show up on the main Zapstream page. So I've been using sats.gg to find the channel so I could see my live chat in here. But I don't know if that's a me thing or a zap.stream thing. Anyways, we're troubleshooting live on the fly here, folks. Solar would at worst subsidize your bill here in Florida, looking into the same. I mean, Florida makes so much sense to have some solar there. Bird Meta says, the odds are against me, but I still feel like I'm going to hit a block. Me too. Can I follow you on Nostr? Yes. I guess I should do a little bit better job of that. Sharing my Nostr link. I'll put that in the show notes today, in the comments. I should probably do that right now. But anyways, you can just type in Jor on Nostr too, depending on what client you use. Jor should show up. Go to nostr.band. That's a good resource for anybody out there, actually, because some of the clients on Nostr are really poor at like discoverability. I've found it's really hard to find people unless you know their NPub. Sorry, Bodie, got to put you aside for a second here. But if you go to nostr.band, so you could type in anything, keyword, hashtag, public key, post ID. So if we went to Kieran here, you'd be able to find right there. So that's a really good way to do it. And then you can copy the NPub from there, which is much better than using like a client trying to do this. So you could just type in Jor there. I'm right at the top, and you can click my NPub right there. This is not me, but it's also a good way to like see who's who, because there's probably like 30 Kierans on Nostr, like, either trying to be Kieran or whatever, but you can see like the followers, the sats. It's a good way to verify kind of who's who on there. So that's nostr.band. I'll share. Actually, I could just share that in here, and then you can find it that way as well. There you go. So it's in the chat there. Bodie says, good morning, friends. Energy infrastructure critical to bringing American manufacturing back. Anyone want to work in the electrical trade? Bodie's making some moves in the Bitcoin mining space right now. He would say slow, but I would say right on time. Doomkid says, I converted all of my XRP into Bitcoin before it boomed over 95K, and honestly, it was a wise decision. Bitcoin is the way. Yeah, XRP is the same kind of shit. Centralized. Dinos, decentralized in name only. Okay, let me get to some stuff here because we're 45 minutes into it today. But anyways, congrats there, Kieran. That's awesome. I'll be using that all the time now. I might even download the app on my computer here if I can get that working. So cheers to Kieran for allowing us to do this crazy thing. Okay, so I got a list here. I titled this one, "The Bitcoin Floodgates Are Open." Actually, before we do that, before we get into that, on the weekend, there was a Coinos issue. I think the issue's still there. So it was actually during our Maple Bitcoin stream where the Coinos was down because we weren't getting any zaps through the QR code there. And I couldn't even load the website to look at the zaps. But so from Friday afternoon to today, Coinos is still down. And they've done a really good job, I think, of letting people know what's going on. They're actually using Nostr as their main way to communicate, which is fucking awesome. But anyways, the point is, like, pretty scary. I had a pretty sufficient amount of sats on Coinos, still do. And I've been trying to withdraw those sats for the last couple of days. Every hour, pretty much, I log into there and try to withdraw them, and I'm still unable to. So I think that the thing to keep in mind there is that anytime you're dealing with a Coinos, a Speed app, or a Speed app, what else? What's another app that's custodial? Aqua's non-custodial. So if you compare Aqua to Coinos, for example, you're like, let's say I had 1 million sats on Coinos, and something happens with the Coinos infrastructure. Their Lightning node, their Lightning service provider, something happens, they lose their backups, something. It happens. It's happened a lot in Bitcoin and on the different layers of Bitcoin. It hasn't happened on Bitcoin. I think there's about 14 years straight of 100% uptime on the Bitcoin network, but layers built on top of Bitcoin, there's always issues like this. So those 1 million sats, if Coinos goes down, they're gone. Gone. Like, I can log into my Coinos account, but that doesn't mean I can send or withdraw those sats from the Coinos wallet because they're all in their custody. I don't have the right to those sats. I just have like the IOU from Coinos saying that those sats are mine. And I might get them. I might not. I'm not worried about it. I mean, I kind of am worried about it. I'm not going to lie, but I have faith that they will get things up and running. But that's the difference between a custodial wallet and a non-custodial wallet, where if I had those 1 million sats in my Aqua wallet and I had my 12-word backup phrase written down, and even if Aqua went rogue or Aqua shut down or got subpoenaed or whatever, their infrastructure stopped working, I could still take my 12 words and put those into a Sparrow wallet, into a green wallet, blue wallet. I could take those 12 words and put it somewhere else, and I would still have access to my Bitcoin. So that's pretty important. And I think that you should be very careful with the amount of sats that you're leaving on any sort of custodial wallet, whether that's Wallet of Satoshi, Speed, Coinos, all of these different apps. What was the other one I said there? I don't know. Because I'll tell you firsthand, it's pretty scary when it's completely out of your control and you don't know if you're going to get those sats back or not. Like, all of our sats for Maple Bitcoin are with Coinos. So if something were to happen, that I can't just take my Coinos login and go into Sparrow and put that in there. Nothing would happen. Sats would be gone. So be very careful with the amount of sats that you're leaving on these custodial wallets, because this stuff happens like this. Frank says, I like Phoenix Wallet. Yes, that's another great option. If you're comfortable funding your liquidity, if you're comfortable holding your own keys, Phoenix Wallet is awesome. Truly. But for convenience and stuff, like, I love Wallet of Satoshi, Coinos, it connects with Nostr. Phoenix Wallet does not, but neither does Aqua. So yeah, I mean, you just have to be aware of it. That's why I'm talking about it today, is because you have to be aware of the fact that those sats could basically disappear any second. And so you want to make sure that you're not keeping too many sats on custodial wallets. Very important. Very, very, very important. John says, exploring super backed and running it on an air gapped Raspberry Pi. Nice. Nice. That's definitely one way to do it. And I think that, super backed has a lot of benefits. I think that every person here, if you're in Bitcoin in 2025 right now, you should start taking some steps towards super backed. Even if you just have a single sig wallet, super backed can make that setup 100 times better today. So the main drawback to super backed is that it's more work. It's more difficult. But it is the safest, most secure way to secure your Bitcoin that I've found. And currently we're the only company who offers this service for people. And we have been busy, and we're going to get much, much busier as the price of Bitcoin goes up, as everybody's sats become more valuable, and they realize, hey, I got a couple holes in my security setup here. I'm losing a bit of sleep over it. So then the main drawback to super backed is that it's more work. It's not more expensive, it's more work, but it's the best way to secure Bitcoin that I've found by far. And you can basically maintain full ownership of your Bitcoin without trusting anybody, not even us. We don't hold the keys. We don't know how much Bitcoin you have. We don't even have to know your last name. It's good to know first name so you can actually have a conversation with people. And you don't have to have a trace of Bitcoin at your house, which is also going to be extremely important moving forward here. So you get all that with super backed. Again, best way to do it. So if you're looking for information on super backed, and there's been people email me in the last couple of days, I haven't gotten back to them yet, but I will. So if you want info on super backed, if you want to set up a call with Craig and I, you can just shoot me an email, jor@bitcoincitadel.net, and put super backed in the title or the subject line. Tommy D, good morning, my friend. Fireworks says, how hard is it to run Tor with your Bitcoin node? I don't think it's very difficult. I'd never used Tor before I got my Start 9, and I didn't have any sort of issues with it. And it sounds like the Start 9 update that's coming, you're not going to have to use Tor without it anymore. That's my understanding of it. That's what I think it was Daniel who told me that. But yeah, the guy from Start 9, Matt Hill, we had a conversation with him a couple months ago, and he said that the new update for Start 9 is going to be something pretty special. It's going to become more useful, and it's going to become more. It's going to become easier for people to use. So if I'm not going to tell you what to do here, again, don't sell Bitcoin, don't go into financial hardship, but it would be a good time right now to get yourself a Start 9 if you have the finances to do so. So I'll put my link here. I'll put this in the show notes as well today for you. There's the Start 9 there, the Pure. And you can use the code 88SATS, 88 SATS, and you can save some extra. It looks like right now you get $100 off. You get a free lifetime membership for Start 9 support if you buy today. And you also get an added discount for using the 88 Sats link. So again, don't go into hardship to do it, but I do think it's a really good time right now to be getting yourself a Start 9. Tom says there will be a day of reckoning with a lot of money lenders. They don't understand an asset that cannot be diluted, and someone will have to take the loss when the paper Bitcoin outstrips the supply. Truth. Is it possible to run your own Koinos server? I don't think so. I could be wrong about that, but I don't know. Let's find out here. We're troubleshooting on the fly today. Let me, is it possible to run your own Koinos? Would it be a Lightning server? I'll just put server and see what results come up. Oh, it is. Wow. It is possible. Good thing I checked. I would have been a liar. So it says, yes, it is possible to run your own Koinos server. Koinos is open source and provides both the front end and back end server code. To run your own instance, you can blah, 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 blah. So yes, you can. Would I recommend it? No, but you might know more than I do. Terry says, I just finished watching Piano Maddie B's morning TA technical analysis show. How's everyone doing here? We're doing good. We're doing good. We couldn't ask for much more in the world right now. Floofin, good morning. Fireworks says I have Bitcoin knots on my desktop hard drive, so I'm trying to figure out how to run Tor with it so I don't leak the IP. I'm not a Tor expert. I'm not a Bitcoin knots expert. I do not claim to be experts in any of these subjects, but you can get help if you need. We got people at Bitcoin Citadel who can help you with that. We got some Bitcoin node experts, you might say. So it might be worth reaching out, Fireworks, if you want to do like a value for value call with somebody at Citadel. That might be the way to do it. So you can just email me, joe@bitcoincitadel.net, and I'll put you in touch with one of those guys. Yeah, sorry, I'm not an expert on that. Frank says, what do you think of having sats in the Liquid network versus Lightning? So the Liquid network and the Lightning network are different, right? The Liquid network is basically a side chain of Bitcoin, and the Lightning network is a layer built on top of Bitcoin. So I don't think it's either or. I have both. I have sats in both, Liquid and on Lightning. I think the Liquid is actually very underrated for a couple different things, but yeah, I mean, if you're holding Liquid, you have the keys to that. It's you don't really hold Liquid on somebody else's custody. So in that sense, you're going to have full ownership of your Liquid Bitcoin. And if you need to flip back and forth between Lightning and Liquid, it's a really good way to do it. That's why I like Aqua, because it supports Liquid and Lightning and Bitcoin and USDT. I'm a big fan of the Aqua wallet. Have too many computers as it is. Start thinking about installing StartOS for free. Yep, you could do that. Hey, Wendy C, good morning. Good to see you. Wendy C. How much does a session like that cost? Well, if we're doing a full setup of a node, I think it's about $500. I don't know the exact pricing on that. But if you're just looking for a specific question, that's why I think Bitcoin Citadel is going to be very popular, is because we do have people who are willing to work for value, which means that instead of having to buy 5 hours of time with us and spend 4.5 talking about nothing, you can just set up a call. You can ask your questions, and then you can send whatever you think it was worth to the advisor. So if you're there for half an hour, you got your answer. You could send 100,000 sats. You could send 1 million sats, whatever you think it was worth to you, which I think is kind of cool. Kind of cool, in my opinion. Ebot says that's why everyone should run their Lightning node. It's super easy. I don't know about that. I wouldn't say it's super easy. I'm not going to disagree that everybody should have their own Lightning node. I don't have one myself, so I'm not going to tell anybody to do something that I don't do. But I don't think it's super easy yet. I think it will be eventually with the use of AI and other things. Philip's Adventures. Can more Bitcoin ever be created, and why do you think the creator only made 21 million and not more or less? Good question. Good question. Yes, more Bitcoin could be created. If the consensus, if the majority of people running a Bitcoin node vote to fork Bitcoin and increase the supply, it could happen. But then you have to ask yourself, why would that ever happen? The people who are running nodes obviously have a vested interest in Bitcoin, and creating more Bitcoin would essentially dilute their wealth. So the incentives for somebody to do that do not line up at all. So it could happen, but it won't happen. because it doesn't make any sense. And why do you think the creator only made 21 million? I think the 21 million is a very arbitrary number. I don't think that there was I'm not going to say there was no reason for it. You know, if you the math, the code, the 21 itself, there's a lot of reasons why they chose, I think, 21 million that, you know, I might not be aware of, but I think for the most part, it's a very arbitrary number. It could have been 21 Bitcoin. It could have been 21 billion Bitcoin. It doesn't really matter. And you also have to keep in mind that there's really no such thing as Bitcoin. The only thing that exists on layer 1 are Satoshis. A Bitcoin is just like a way to shorten that. So it'd be like 500,000 sats. That's a UTXO. If you have a bunch of UTXOs that equal 100 million sats, that equals to 1 point something. So Bitcoin doesn't actually exist. It's all Satoshis. It's important for people. And people have it backwards, right? People think that because they can't afford one Bitcoin, that it's not worth buying anything. But little do they know that Bitcoin doesn't actually exist. And people who actually own one Bitcoin are going to be incredibly rare. Millionaires out there, fiat millionaires, like the whole term millionaire to me is completely gone. $1 million doesn't buy what it used to 5 years ago even. And a lot of those millionaires won't get half a Bitcoin. So that's not the goal. People have it backwards. They should be focused on sats because actually they're the only thing that actually exists within the Bitcoin network. What do you think taxes will be eliminated overall? Not sure. Lapad says the mempool is filled with spam right now. Super expensive fees, inscriptions. Sent our DCA earlier. Oh, sorry, Lapad. I didn't see it. I don't have that phone on me right now. Mempool, is it busy? I looked at it this morning. It didn't seem bad. Oh yeah, we're heating up. Look at that. I mean, it's probably a good thing, honestly. I'm not a big fan of arbitrary data or non-financial data on the mempool, but you know, miners, I'm sure, aren't complaining about the fees right now. So this is what Lapad's talking about. You can see here, for the last several hours, hardly anybody was using the Bitcoin network. Fees were extremely low. 3 sats, 1 sat. And then all of a sudden here, we got 38 sats, 31, 42. And the mempool has filled up. So it looks like the inscriptions are, I would call spamming the Bitcoin network. Spamming the Bitcoin network. Anyways, 21 million for the 21st century. That's interesting. 21 is the inverse of 12. 12 is a pretty significant number in the universe. That's kind of what I meant. Like I don't think that the actual quantity is as important as like the actual numerology aspect of it, which, you know, I don't care to explain here. Taxes will never be gone. Would an institutionalized mafia not accept money from each and every lucrative stream? Property taxes is the biggest scam ever. You know, never say never. Never say never. Steven, good morning, my friend. 43 sats per VByte right now. Yeah, don't be sending Bitcoin today unless you have to. But again, this is why it's important to have some Bitcoin on Lightning and on Liquid for when this kind of stuff happens. And if you think back to like a year ago, maybe a year and a half, like some of the blocks were being mined at like 450 sats per VByte. That was like the minimum fee you had to pay to get into a block. So that's why when fees are really low and you have the ability to swap onto Lightning or onto Liquid, you should have a small reserve of your Bitcoin on Lightning and Liquid for times like this. If you need to send Bitcoin and there's a whole bunch of bullshit happening on the network, that's when you use the side chain and the layers on top of Bitcoin. Philip, another question. From word of mouth, been hearing that we'll start pricing everything in Satoshis when 1 million mark. What are your thoughts? I mean, I got a bunch of different thoughts on this. This is like a whole different, if we could do a full show on this. I actually have a plan myself to, I'm going to actually launch 88 sats. I don't want to give too much away, but I'm going to keep basically everything's going to be priced in sats. So let's say that this hoodie, I wanted this hoodie I'm wearing, I wanted 50,000 sats for it. So the nice thing about that is that if I had that hoodie on the website for, let's say, a year, and even if my, the inflation kept going up, because I'm measuring my wealth and measuring the world in Bitcoin, I don't really care if the prices in fiat have gone up. My 50,000 sat hoodie, I get that today and I get that in a year, and I'm still equally as happy because I value things in Bitcoin. So I don't know if everything will ever be priced in sats. I think that more likely there'll be currencies. No, you know what? They probably will. I don't know what that transition looks like, honestly. Like, it would make sense to use Bitcoin as a global unit of account because it's the same for everybody. There's no exchange rates between, if some person in Italy values 50,000 sats, it's the same as me here in Canada. So I do think that we will get to that as being like the global unit of account, but then there'll still be, stable coins built on top of Bitcoin that you'll have to do exchange rates for. So we'll probably eventually get to a point where everything's priced in sats, but I think it'll come much later than with the $1 million mark. Tom says, are my small wishing well batch sats going to get wiped out? $10 fee. I only bought 10. They've been sitting for 48 hours already. Batch sats going to no, they shouldn't get wiped out. I don't know. Small wishing well batch sats. I'm not sure what wishing well batch sats are. Don't know. Those should be on Lightning, not layer one. Ebot says Pine 64 has single board computer option too if you want an alternative to a Raspberry Pi. And D'Allen says same with Libre computer. Interesting. Look at this, Dalton. My family agreed to buy their first sats, $30 promo from Coinbase. Nice. Just make sure that once they get their free Bitcoin from Coinbase, that they delete their Coinbase account. That's what I would do, because Coinbase is an enemy to Bitcoin, in my opinion. Coinbase is an enemy to Bitcoin. But cool. That's good news. Anytime you can get your family with some skin in the game, I think that that's a good thing. Okay, what do we have for time here? 1:08. Fireworks says, if Bitcoin hits an all-time high when my rental property sells, I'm going to wait for a pullback before I buy some Bitcoin, but I'm scared it keeps mooning. Yeah, I mean, that's what you have to worry about, right? If Bitcoin shot up to, because we haven't really seen any sort of real movement in Bitcoin yet. I mean, it's gone up, but we haven't seen like a big spike yet. So you could wait for a pullback, but it might be from like 300 to 200 at that point. So if I were you, Fireworks, the day you get your money, regardless of what the price is, just buy it all that day. Don't DCA, don't wait, just buy it. Okay, let's give away some Bitcoin. Speaking of Bitcoin, wishing tosses here. Where's there we go. Oh, look at that. I got a couple. Cool. Okay, so this is from Bitcoin Well. They give sats to the community here every show. So we're going to toss a coin into the wishing well, and the first person to scan the QR code here is going to win some free sats, courtesy of Bitcoin Well. So here we go. Are we ready? Are we set? Scan. Go. Come on, big one, big money, big money. 539. We'll take that for sure. We will absolutely take that. So the first person to scan that today is going to get, here, I'm going to send a little test message on Zapstream from my account on my new app. Hello, Zapstream. Allow. Accept. There we go. Worked. DL, and I'm looking at the chat here on my phone. This is kind of cool. Shout out Kieran for putting this together. It says the viewers on there. It says you can zap. I can try zapping somebody here. I'm going to do a little test here. I'm going to zap Kieran. Kieran. Can I zap on here, Kieran? I don't know if I can. Tried. Anyways, sorry. Caught up in the BS here. So there you go. Congratulations, whoever won that. Laugh pad today. Nice laugh pad. Laugh pad. I don't have my phone on me. Do you mind sharing what the zap amount was for the DCA today, so we can add it to the our DCA? I'm working on something behind the scenes right now too for our dollar coffee average crew. Super laggy right now. DCA. So if you're still here, laugh pad, throw the amount up for the DCA today. Okay, so we're gonna end the show here in about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. But I want to get through all of the things that have happened in the last week, pretty much in Bitcoin here. Where do I scan it on? My wallet. Yeah, you got to open up your, so anybody who might be new to the show here, you actually have to open up your Lightning wallet. You have to press send, which seems backwards. You have to press send so you can scan the QR code and then you win it, I guess, essentially. So there's also another QR code here if you're into scanning things. That's Arnie's wallet. All the sats from today's show are going to the Rescue Dog Fund, which we currently have 694,000 sats in that fund. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. Or if you don't feel like scanning things, oh no, that's the wrong one. You can use Bitcoin Journey at Bitcoin Journey at speed.app if your QR code here isn't working. If you want to support the channel here. 2938. Okay, let's add that to our DCA here. It's the coolest metric in Bitcoin. So we got May 7th, 8th, 9th. We took the 10th and 11th off. And today would be 2938. So not quite an all-time high or all-time low, I guess I should say, in sats. But we're in the 2000s now. So 1 month ago, that $3 coffee got me 3,800 sats. And today, that same $3 coffee equivalent gets 2,938 sats. So that's our DCA. That's our price metric for Bitcoin. When it's higher, price is down. When the DCA is lower, Bitcoin price is up. Dalton, have a great day. Well, I'm not leaving. If you're leaving, though, have yourselves a great Monday today. Okay, so here's what's been going on. I wanted to highlight these because, I've been going through Twitter. So, I mean, the show today, the Bitcoin floodgates have opened. And I've been scrolling through my phone on Twitter on Nostr, seeing all these different announcements, and it's pretty exciting, but it's very hard to track, I feel like. So today I spent a little bit of time going through, 12 or 15 things that have happened within the last 2 weeks within Bitcoin. where if any of these things happened like a year ago, we would be losing our minds. But it's just like one thing after another. It's almost impossible to try to keep up with all the excitement in Bitcoin right now. So let's bring this up here. I got a list because it's easier to kind of go through instead of me just reading out loud. So, wrong one. First one here, Metaplanet. They announced that they are raising more money to buy Bitcoin. They issued 0 coupon bonds to buy more Bitcoin, which means that people are giving them money without any sort of return on it. 0 coupon, 0% return on those on the money coming from Metaplanet. So I'm guessing that that's going to be convertible debt, which means that at some point the buyer of those bonds will be able to convert that into shares of Metaplanet. But 0 coupon, that just goes to show how much demand there is for big pools of capital to hold Bitcoin when they cannot hold any Bitcoin yet legally. Arizona and New Hampshire both announced that they passed their Bitcoin reserve bills. I think the Arizona one's a little bit sketchy. It sounds like they're only going to add seized Bitcoin to that for now, but it's still pretty massive. The U.S. Treasury, Scott Bessent, said, quote, "We believe the United States should be the premier destination for digital assets." Also, part of the U.S. government, the acting comptroller of currency said, quote, "This digitization of financial services is not a trend. It's a transformation." So those last 2 quotes came from people within the White House. That's incredible. It's like people have been texting me for the last week. "Hey, Jor, what's going on with the price of Bitcoin? Why is it going up?" Well, I mean, how could it not? I gave like 3 or 4 examples of why it is, but like, how could it not be going up right now? It wouldn't make sense not to. Steak and Shake, which we talked about last week, will begin accepting Bitcoin at all of their locations starting on May 16th, which is later this week. Friday. Steak and Shake, they serve 100 million customers, and they're going to be accepting Bitcoin at every single one of their locations right off the bat. No test run for Shake and Steak, or what is it? Shake and Steak. They're just diving into it. Why not? The one thing we've learned in Bitcoin is the early adopters are rewarded the most. So if you looked at it, actually, I'm going to do a video for the channel here in the next couple of days. But if you looked at like the first purchase of Strategies Bitcoin and how much they spent versus how much they got, versus like Metaplanet and these companies who have come after Strategy, 21 Capital, David Bailey's company now. The early adopters, the first ones here, are going to be rewarded forever. And in this case, it's going to be, is it Steak and Shake or Shake and Steak? I don't know. Whatever it is, they're making moves. The next one here is the cumulative net inflows into U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs hit another all-time high over the weekend, or at the end of last week, I guess it was. So the big boys are buying the Bitcoin. Next one here, the Vice President, J.D. Vance of the United States, announced that he's going to be speaking at the Bitcoin Conference 2025 in Vegas. So last year we had the soon-to-be president at the Bitcoin Conference, but now they're actually in office. So the sitting Vice President of the United States is going to be speaking at the Bitcoin Conference in a couple weeks from now. Next one here is Conor McGregor, an Irish, said, quote, "An Irish Bitcoin strategic reserve will give power to the people's money." So it sounds like he's in communication with Saylor. It sounds like he's in communication with David Bailey. And having a guy like Conor McGregor talking about Bitcoin, I would say, is a very, very big deal. Goldman Sachs, their report recently showed that they now hold $1.4 billion worth of IBIT shares. Goldman Sachs have $1.4 billion worth of Bitcoin ETFs. The thumbnail for today's show was, are you smarter than a billionaire? Are you smarter than a billionaire? Because you should usually do what the rich people are doing, whether that's Michael Saylor, whether that's the banks, Goldman Sachs, whether that's Conor McGregor. I don't think he's a billionaire, but Donald Trump, you should probably listen to what those guys are doing and pay attention. Nakamoto, the newest company, merges with Kindly MD. That's an announcement from this morning, and raised $710 million to launch a Bitcoin treasury company. So I mentioned at the start of the show today that since Strategy in August of 2020, since they were the first public company to add Bitcoin to their reserve, there's been 70 companies that have followed, 70. And we had another one announced this morning. Nakamoto Inc. merged with Kindly MD, and they're launching a Bitcoin treasury company. And I think the ticker is KLDN, something like that. I wonder if that's live yet. After this list, I'll check to see if that's what the stock has been doing. Also today, Strategy, who already had 555,000 Bitcoin, they announced that they acquired 1.34 billion more Bitcoin. So now they hold 568,840 Bitcoin. Wow. And this was pretty big. I feel like this one didn't get the attention that it should have. Cantor Fitzgerald, their fund, they allocate currently 39.2% of the total fund to MicroStrategy or to Strategy, MSTR. I forget what the value is, but the Cantor Fitzgerald fund is massive. And their fund allocates 39.2% of that to Strategy. And the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, Howard Lutnick, is I missed a part here. He's the Secretary of Commerce, right under Donald Trump. So do you think he knows something? Are you smarter than Howard Lutnick? Do you think you make better investing decisions than Howard Lutnick? If the answer is no to that, then you should probably get some Bitcoin. You should probably get as much Bitcoin as you possibly can. But here's the last part that I forgot to add to that, is that a recent survey showed that only 4% of Americans see Bitcoin as the best long-term investment option. 4%. And bonds, government bonds currently have 5%. So they're the second lowest. So there's more people in the US that believe that government bonds are a better long-term investment than Bitcoin is, which begs the question, are you smarter than a billionaire? Which is where the opportunity is here. That's why we're doing the show, because we want as many average people to get into Bitcoin. And we still have the opportunity to do so today. Okay, D'Allen shared a link over here on Zapstream. One of the underrated features of Zapstream is that you can actually share links on there. Oh, what's this? Except it's not really, I can't do much with this. Oh, Bitcoin's on there now? What? Is that real? So D'Allen sent a logo, or updated logo of Steak and Shake, and it says Bitcoin on it. Here, let me show you. I'm going to verify that this is real here, but I have no reason not to believe that. So if we go to maybe Steak and Shake website, let's see what they have on there. Steak and Shake. Yeah. Wow. I mean, I don't know if that's their official logo now, but that's on the, hold on. That's on their website right there. You can see Bitcoin. First page, starting May 16th. You can see Bitcoin on the logo. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Hey, we got 88 people watching in here right now. Shout out to you for being here in 2025, holding sats. Dalton says, is Steak and Shake announcement a buy signal for the masses, you think? I don't think so. I think most people are still completely oblivious to it. Again, here's what's gonna trigger it is when Steak and Shake announces that they only accept Bitcoin. And everybody who's been going to Steak and Shake for years, they're gonna walk in there one day and say, "What? You don't accept fiat dollars anymore? I guess I better learn how to buy some Bitcoin." And by that time, they're gonna get like 5 sats for $1, which is sad. It's sad, but it's the reality of what's gonna play out here. Separate X says, I'm 19 and I bought 0.05 or 5 million sats in the past year. I feel guilty that I wasn't able to buy more. How should I see this, Jor? Oh. You're 19 years old and you got 5 million sats? When I was 19 years old, I probably had $13 in my bank account and some debt. There was, when I was 19 years old, there was no hope for anything in my life. Zero. I was pumping gas. I worked for a year pumping gas. And if you think pumping gas sucks as a job, try pumping gas in Manitoba, where for half the year you're in the negatives. And I remember getting up at work started at 7 a.m. So I'd get up at like 6 or 6:30. I'd drive to work, have to start the car for half an hour, go outside. Every time somebody showed up there to pump gas, I had to put my park on, my toque, my mask, my gloves. And that's what I was doing when I was 19 years old. And every dollar that I made, I'd spent on beer. So the one thing that you have, even though you don't have a bunch of Bitcoin in your mind, number one, 5 million sats is going to be more than most people ever think about accumulating in a decade from now. But also you have time. You're 19 years old. And if you can start building things in your life to earn more sats and keep building that number up, you're going to be laughing. I think that if you had 1 million sats, I would say that you're beyond your years. So that's what I would say. Like your focus should be on 2 things from here. Number one, compounding more sats. So pick up a side job, trade every dollar in excess of your expenses, put that into Bitcoin, start taking advantage of different things like the Fold app, like Fountain, just compound sats. You're 19 years old. You do that for like 10 years. You're probably going to be retired by the time you're 30. I'm not lying. Like with those 5 million sats in a decade from now, plus building on top of that, I'm guessing you're going to be retired by the time you're 30 years old, if you want to be. But number 2, most importantly, is you have to make sure that those sats are safe. Because in a decade or 2 from now, regardless of how much you add back in 2025, if you have any holes in your security setup and somehow you lose that Bitcoin, you're never, ever going to get that back. You get one shot at Bitcoin, especially now. 10 years ago, you could afford to lose $500 worth of Bitcoin, get it back. But today, if you lost your Bitcoin that you have today, you're never going to get back the same amount unless you're a billionaire. But I don't think many billionaires are watching the show right now. Are you smarter than BlackRock? Same question I've been posing to people. Exactly. Like the biggest wealth manager on the planet is all in on Bitcoin. Yeah. Separate X, you're in a very good spot. 100%. You're the best in the biz. I don't know about that, but I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. I'm from India, so buying that much Bitcoin is hard. And I started my own business 2 years ago and decided to take my profits in Bitcoin. You're set. You're absolutely set. If you can, again, secure that Bitcoin, keep building your business, converting it to Bitcoin, I can't even put it into words. Jake says it would be cool if they could accept fiat for the purchase, but offer chain. Ooh, that'd be kind of cool. That'd be really cool. Although, here's what I do, Jake. If you're in Canada, this is a really, really, really good way to stack sats. Underrated way to stack sats. If you're in Canada, and I think Fold would be something similar to this in the US, but you can get an app called ShakePay. And you don't have to buy Bitcoin with ShakePay. You can actually just set up a Visa where you fund it And then you can pay for things with your ShakePay Visa card. And not only do you get 1% back in sats, but also you can set up a roundup feature. So for every purchase you make, you can buy $5 worth of Bitcoin at the same time. So if I bought a $20 sub at Subway, if I use my ShakePay Visa card, I automatically get $5 worth of Bitcoin without even noticing that I spent it. And that shit accumulates. It adds up. If you do that for a couple of years, you're going to make a significant dent in your stack of Bitcoin, but just by doing that. You don't have to use ShakePay to buy Bitcoin. I don't buy Bitcoin on ShakePay myself, but there are incentives and features that you can use on ShakePay, like the ShakePay Visa and like the Roundup feature. Plus, with ShakePay, you open your app up every day, you shake your phone, and you get sats just for shaking your phone. Again, I don't love ShakePay as for buying, but I love ShakePay for the features that they have. I use Bitcoin Well only for buying. But got to shake it pretty hard. So what did I get for this? I'm on a pretty long streak. But yesterday I shook my phone and I got 323 sats for going like that. Like, if you're not doing that, I think that you're stupid. Sorry, but like it doesn't make any sense to be given that kind of leaving that many sats on the table. Businesses will start charging more using fiat. Yes. If you got sats at 19, you're way ahead of the curve. 100%. 100%. If you're 19 and already thinking about investing, you're already setting yourself up to be successful. Yep. There you go. It looks like the chat is 100% on board with me there. Stay consistent. Yes. Stay consistent and secure it. Less bullshit clubs, bad women, junk cars can avoid that. 10 years. Yes, exactly. Jake says ShakePay is fun. I think if you hold $1,000 on your account balance, you get 3% back on your purchases. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Son of Satoshi, I just got 200 sats per day for shaking. ShakePay not available in the US? No, but there is the Fold app, which is very comparable, I believe, to the incentives for ShakePay. Free sats. Free sats. A couple things you should be doing every single day is listening to a podcast on Fountain, shaking or using your Fold app for purchases, playing like a couple games of Snake, earn some free sats, and do that every single day. Oh, and taking the poll on ZBD. I got 100 sats yesterday for answering a poll on ZBD. 100 sats. Like it's nuts. Are there Bitcoin faucets out there today? Yes, I just named all of them. Fountain, ShakePay, Bitcoin Snake, ZBD. I'll put all these links. If you're watching this right now or later, I'll put all of these links. And you usually need a referral code, especially for ShakePay. You need a referral code to unlock these features. So I'll put all these links in the show notes for you today. So they're coming out. Okay, so not free sats are the best sats. I just explained to my 19 and 21-year-old about Bitcoin. Hopefully it sticks with them. Nice. Good for you. And look at this. Kieran zapped 1,000 sats today. Wow. Not only building apps, but supporting the people using the apps, which is pretty special. Thank you, Kieran. That's pretty cool. Not going to lie. That's pretty cool. So yeah. Bitcoin Nurse shows up on the Zapstream as well. Good morning. I play the spin wheel on Fold every morning. So that's actually, I don't have a link myself for the Fold app, but I will provide a link for, I'll get one from somebody in the US. So if you're watching this in the US, I'll put that in the show notes as well. Show notes and in the pinned comments. You'll be able to find all those in there. The incentive is way less than ShakePay. I get 5 to 25, but they are free. Exactly. Don't look at like the dollar amount of the sats. Just get as many as you possibly can. That's it. That's your main goal. Get as much as you can and secure it properly. Bitcoin Nurse over in both. Love that. Okay. So with that, big shout out to everybody watching on the Zapstream today. We had pretty well attended show today. 20 people over there right now. Big shout out to Kieran for the new app, Zapstream. If you're on Android, I'll also leave that link in the show notes for you as well. Or you can just search Zapstream in the Google Play Store or the Zap Store. And yeah, that's what we got for you today. Oh, interesting. ZBD Discord gives out free stats from time to time too, if you think your ZBD account, if you link it to Discord. Interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, so that's it. Thanks, everybody. Very well attended show today. We had up to 95, I think, in the chat. I expect these numbers to go up in the next couple months as more and more people are looking for info. But again, get as many sats as you can. Don't worry about Bitcoin. Focus 100% on sats and focus 100% of your time and energy on securing those sats. And if you have a decent balance, I don't really have a threshold, 10 million sats, you should start looking into a multi-sig and you should start looking into super backed. So if you go to sleep at night and you're thinking like, what would happen if this happened and I would lose all my Bitcoin? If you have any single points of failure in your security setup, that's a problem. Regardless of how much you have, regardless of the probability of that happening, it's not would it happen or will it happen, it's could it happen? That's what you have to concern yourself with when you're protecting the greatest asset that has ever existed before. So take it seriously. This is not something you mess around with. If you need help with anything, setting up a cold card, learning more about super backed, managing your private keys, managing your UTXOs, anything, we can help you. So Jor at bitcoincitadel.net is the best way to get a hold of me. So Goblin Box says, great show. Thanks, Jor. Thanks for showing up. Goblin Box. Great name. And Dalton, thank you. Lapad, thanks for the stream today. Happy Monday, everybody. BTC is truth. Lewis, end today with more sats than you started with. Exactly. Hold tight, stack them like a psychopath. Okay. Have a great Monday, everybody. Thank you again for the generous donations to the Rescue Dog Fund. Very much appreciated. And for the DCA, for everything. I appreciate you guys. And for 10K, I never even talked about that much today, but we got 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Fucking crazy. So it's go time. We've found the first crop of people. People have already been leaving. I can see the number going down here, but if you're still here, we've hit our stride. We found 10,000 people who are interested in this stuff. I've done my very best to filter people out with conversations on gender, politics, pronouns, climate stuff. I've done my best to get restricted by YouTube. I've done my best to filter people out, and it seems like we got the right 10,000 people here. So I'm going to have a couple announcements coming in the near future, but the one thing I would say is before June 30th, if you've been dragging your feet, make sure you join our community, because June 30th is going to be the new magic number, the new date that you want to be part of this community before. So I'll put that in the, it's in the live chat there. I'll put it in the show notes as well. There's going to be lots of links in there for you today if you're got some free time. But yes, more people do need to be on Nostr. I 100% agree with that. And we're working on it. I think we've done a pretty good show here at the Daily Bitcoin Journey to onboard a lot of people onto Nostr. And we're all just starting with this. 10K, yeah, good start. But again, this is the core 10K and the 200 core within Living in the Future. And those people are going to be, those Bitcoiners are going to be very thankful that they joined Living in the Future back in 2025. Barely scratching the surface. Wait a year. Yep. We're in no rush. I mean, I was telling people to unsubscribe from the channel for a while. So it's kind of like likes to me, subscribers. But anyways, it's kind of cool. So have yourselves a great day today. Thank you once again. And we'll see you right back here first thing tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.